I just saw one of your new ads this morning. It said that you vote with Trump more than half the time. It's kind of a different tactic for a Democratic candidate, don't you think?
I don't know, not different for me. I mean, one of the things that I said 6 years ago when I was running is I said, look, if you're looking for someone who's going to vote on the way left, that's not me. If you're looking for somebody who's going to vote on the way right, that's not me either. I'm going to vote North Dakota's interests. And so many of those times, that means voting with my Republican colleagues. That means voting with this administration to secure the policies that I agree with them on, whether it is rolling back the stream protection rule, whether it's rolling back waters of the United States, all of the kind of over-regulation, whether it's supporting the Regulatory Accountability Act. So there's a number of things that I've worked with this administration on. There's a number of things that I've worked with my Republican colleagues, from bank deregulation to environmental deregulation to making sure that we have security at the borders. You know, these are all things that are really important to me. But they're also important to the people of North Dakota. But with that said, I don't think one political party has all the answers. And I think if your loyalty is just to a political party and not to the voters of your state, I think that that's not the job of a United States Senator from North Dakota.
Congressman Kevin Cramer, this election cycle, wants to make an issue out of your voting record. He said, you know, voting records speak for themselves, and that's why he believes he's the stronger candidate for the Senate seat. Most notably, the tax cuts. What do you say to North Dakotans who largely supported the tax cut bill?
Yeah, I don't think you should say North Dakotans largely supported the tax cut bill. It was interesting that before we took the vote, I did a speech on Veterans Day. And you always are looking for input from people in North Dakota. And I had a veteran, Vietnam veteran, come up to me and he said, you know, Senator, I want a tax cut. He goes, but not at the expense of my children. What we did is we handed almost $2 trillion worth of debt for the next generation in that tax bill. We basically said, you know, we're going to live it up now and you're going to pay the tab later. And what's interesting about this is that when you look at my generation inherited an incredible opportunity from our parents. Great highway system, great schools, a world that was growing and free, and you know, more and more democracies, more and more stability across the world. We inherited that world. And you know, Byron Dorgan always says we inherited from our parents and we're borrowing from our kids. We have infrastructure needs that are going unmet. We have an incredible amount of challenge. And on top of it, when you look at how this tax bill was weighted, so now we handed almost $2 trillion worth of debt to kids. And then what we did is we said how we're going to spend that, how we're going to spread that around, is the vast majority of it is going to go to the wealthiest 1% in this country. People, quite honestly, like me, who got a huge advantage from this tax bill. I would have felt wrong voting for that when I saw that many middle-class families who continue to struggle with wage stagnation, continue to struggle to make ends meet, are getting something but not nearly what I'm getting. It's just not fair. And so the other thing is that the bulk of this has gone to corporations without any commitment that they actually invest that money, without any commitment that they actually bring jobs back home. And guess what they're doing? They're buying back their stock, and they're dividending their income, and they're not investing those dollars. And that's what we know is happening right now. Those dollars, once again, are getting hoarded. I heard a statistic that the tax benefits for Berkshire Hathaway, over that period of time are equal to what it would cost to buy the land in the entire, you know, on the North Dakota side of the Red River Valley. Think about that. One company. And it's just, it is so skewed and so unfair, and it's not the right direction. And then the frosting on this cake is that the tax breaks that the middle class got are temporary. They're not permanent. And in fact, their taxes will go up when that trigger is off at 2025. It's just, we needed to do tax reform, which this is not tax reform. We've actually grown the code. We needed to do middle-class tax cuts, which there are some in there, but very, very small percentage of what's in there actually went to the middle class. And we needed to do something about overseas income and making sure that we didn't incentivize moving money offshore. We didn't do any of those things, to my judgment. And that's why I didn't vote for it. I think we could have done much, much better. I spent a lot of time trying to work with the administration, in particular with Gary Cohen, talking about what I thought could happen to make this bipartisan. It wasn't bipartisan. I don't think the intention was to make it bipartisan. And I think that in the end, when you look back on this, you will see that this was not the package that should have been supported. Now, with that said, I don't just look at, the easiest thing in the world for me politically would have been to vote for it. It was going to pass anyway. The easiest thing in the world would have been to vote for it. But I didn't go there to do things that were easy. And this was a hard vote politically, but it's a vote that I stand by, and it's a vote that I believe in, because I think that we need a different package of reforms, one that really gives a tax break to the middle class, one that really incentivizes bringing our jobs home and supporting those manufacturers who actually manufacture in this country, which is another thing we could be doing instead of tariffs. And we need something that is truly tax reform and tax simplification, which this wasn't.